Okay, we're on.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello. It is Wednesday afternoon for me, and
And it's
is
Wednesday, the 20th of Maytober for me, in the evening, I think.
Hey, we finally got into summer weather today. We went from low 60 degrees yesterday, or for the Americans, it was about 10 or 11 degrees, and today it was 15 when I was outside. It's almost summer.
Yeah,
Okay.
by 10 o'clock, it was 22 here.
Wow.
And me and Nick were both melting.
So, if you're joining us now, welcome to the Anne and Shona show, or the Shona and Anne show. Where today we're talking about how to feel secure in the saddle, giving you some tips for your physical and your mental security so that you can be both confident and competent when you're riding. So for those of you joining us for the first time, I'm Anne Gage, the horse riding confidence coach, and I help anxious horse riders get back in the saddle with confidence and joy so you can enjoy every ride. And with me is Shona Jameson.
So I am an equipment-free specialist personal trainer, and I work with horse riders to get fit wherever they are, so they can enjoy their time in the saddle more without going to a gym.
That's the important part.
Yeah, no gyms.
Don't go to the gym. So if you're with us live, then say hi in the comments. Let us know who's watching and where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, then pop replay in the comments so we know again that you're watching. We want to be giving you valuable information that's useful to you and that helps you improve your riding. And just before we get into giving you the tips today, we just want to remind you that the Fit and Focused, or Focused and Fit to Ride program opened on Monday.
We know what we're doing.
We do. And we're going to pop the, or Shona can do that, pop the link in the comments for you to have a look at. So you can get in if you're interested at this super early bird price, which we're going to talk about later. But for now, we're going to get right into these tips on helping you be secure, feel mentally and physically secure in the saddle. So, especially if you've had some time away from riding for whatever reason, or you just haven't been riding in the same way you would have before the shutdown, or maybe it's just how you've been feeling generally, even when you do ride. When you feel confident and secure in the saddle, it is a balance between your mind and your body. You need both parts working on your side. And training your brain is really the same as training your muscles. Hi, Mary. So you get what you focus on, and just the same as if you do an exercise, but you're doing it incorrectly, or you're sitting in an incorrect posture and you keep practicing that posture. You can practice bad posture, you can practice physical exercises badly, and you can practice mental exercises that are unhelpful. So remember that you get what you focus on, and use your brain to remember yourself riding at your best, riding at your most confident. That's my first tip. I'm going to come back in a minute and give you an exercise to take you through how you can do that.
So I'm going to give you a little tip for core stability. So core strength and core stability, they often go hand in hand, but they aren't the same skill. So you can be really strong through your core, but not have much stability, and vice versa. So I'm going to give you a really simple exercise to really just test your core stability. You'll all remember wall sits. So you know when you have your back against the wall and you let your legs do all the work. What you're going to do from your wall sit is just lift one foot and then the other, trying to keep your torso as still as you can. Now there's lots of ways that you can mix this exercise up. I'm going to unplug my headphones so that I can shout at you from across the room. So hopefully you can all still hear me. If not, Anne will wave at me. So if we're doing it, this is when I have to move around craft equipment. Lockdown's got pretty surreal.
We're all in the same place.
So if you are sitting on a chair, you can sit on the edge of the chair from here, and you can focus on lifting one leg and the other without anything happening. So if I do it from the side, I'm not tilting, I'm just lifting that leg and then the other. So this is a great place to start if you feel like the wall sit is too much. The wall sit version is really great for just asking that extra layer of difficulty. So I'll show you that as well. So I do keep a wall in my house free for wall-based exercises. Never underestimate the power of a good wall. So in your wall sit, same again, just lifting one leg and then the other. So you will move slightly, but the aim of the game is to move as little as possible. So that is a great one to try to help boost your core stability.
And as I was doing that, sitting on the edge of my chair, I'm feeling some muscles I've been using while I've been out in the garden. Muscles that haven't been used since last summer. So that's good. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a little mindset exercise now. And just as people are joining us, please do pop into the comments, say hi, give us some likes and some loves and some thumbs up. And if you'd like to share this, if this you think of somebody who would benefit from this information, tag them and invite them to come and watch. So, as I said, you want to train your brain to be more positive because our brains have a negativity bias. We remember negative experiences much more quickly and easily than positive ones. So I want you to take a moment and recall a ride where you felt confident and secure in the saddle, where everything was just going really well. And it doesn't matter whether it was a nice walk around the arena or out on a trail somewhere, or if it was a gallop across the beach. Whatever memory you have that you can recall where you felt confident and secure in the saddle. And as you remember that moment in time, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and feel what you felt emotionally and physically. So as you bring that you might see that as a picture, you might see it as a little movie, it just might be a sensation. Not everybody sees visually. And really bring up the sensations of that moment and just sit with it. Just sit with it for a moment and notice how you feel. And when you do that practice of recalling a good ride, a happy ride, a comfortable ride, you're training your brain to see things in a positive light rather than rehashing things that, oh, I could have done better or it didn't feel so good. Focus on the positive and make that a practice. Turn it back to Shona.
Just getting a bit lost and like, oh, ponies.
Oh, sorry, did I?
Well, see, Anne has done NLP on me in the past, and I could just feel myself going straight back to that place. So just like, oh, I was loving it. So, second core stability exercise. This one is made more fun if you have a ball or a wriggly pet or whatever you've got to distract you. So you'll notice I mentioned standing on one leg a fair bit. The reason I mention this is because it just tests our balance a little bit so we can do it for a long time. And it's quite useful if we know we can balance here, because it means we can balance here easier, and then when we're sitting on a horse, we can balance here easier. So while you're standing on one leg with a ball or whatever you've got, just throw from side to side. If you've got a heavier ball, you can practice throwing with both hands. So this is my massage ball. It's not going to win any awards for being hefty. And you can just work on staying stable while thinking about something else. And my right leg, my balance isn't as good on it, and it's just caught me out. And every time you lose your balance, it's an opportunity to get your balance back. So I could spend quite a long time staying here. If you want an extra challenge, you can close your eyes, but be warned, there is definitely an age at which your inner ear isn't as sensitive, and what might happen is just you'll close your eyes and this will happen. Which, if it does, if you want to try it and you're not sure, have a hand on something and use that to just help with your proprioception. It also adds to the fun of trying to remember where your hands are when you're throwing a ball around. Just a fun way of challenging your balance.
That's actually a good exercise too for isolating your hands from your other part of your body, which is so important when we're riding.
100%. Chosen for a reason.
And the closed eyes exercise, I've had students of varying ages, I'll do an exercise with them at the walk to close their eyes to really feel the horse, and they get dizzy or they lose their balance. So yeah, that's an interesting thing that I think aware of until I had a student happen. That happened.
I think it's above 55 is where it starts getting interesting, but it varies from person to person because it's to do with the sensitivity of your inner ear.
And we're all better on one side of our bodies than the other with our balance, and that too affects how we're sitting on our horse. And so if we have that imbalance that we're not working on improving, then we're affecting our horse and throwing our horse off balance and making the job more challenging for the horse, which can then affect our confidence too. So yeah, this is how it all fits together.
Yeah, and actually just being aware of where you're squint is a really good first step. So I know that my right leg is the one that's sometimes a bit interesting. So if I'm doing an exercise and I'm tired, I'll start on my right leg. So I do that one when I'm a little bit fresher and I spend a bit more time on it to try and bring the balance back. And then I'll just do the other side just a little bit. So I kind of try and preferentially work my right leg because it is the one
that's a good tip, because we so often want to start with the easy side. And again, when we're riding our horses, very often we start on the side we're most comfortable with, it's easiest, and then, or for our horse, and then by the time we're getting to the other side, we're already tired.
And here's just another little bonus for, obviously we've got one side that's good, and we'll immediately bring a word to mind about the other side. Instead of calling it that B word, call it your interesting side.
So reframe.
It's really useful actually. So I like a bit of info about me. So I tore my right hamstring about 10 years ago, and that hamstring is still interesting. And as soon as I started looking at it as interesting, I got curious about working with it. I got curious about like, well, how can I get around this sensation, as opposed to calling it the other word. So my left leg is my good leg, my right leg is my interesting leg, and my right rein is most definitely my interesting rein.
Interestingly, I tore my right hamstring about 10 years ago. And I will now call it my interesting leg. That's a great reframe. And it's an example of how important the language we use influences our behavior and our reaction to what we're able to do. It either empowers us or limits us. So that's great. So any questions, pop them in the comments, and it does take a few seconds, 10 to 20 seconds, for us to actually see the comments. So while you're typing in your questions, we're going to tell you a bit about the Focus and Fit to Ride program. I got it right that time. Because it isn't just about doing planks, as you saw with the exercises that Shona just demonstrated, but it is about improving your core strength. It is about having the right kind of, and building the right kind of coordination, joint mobility, and mindset, resilience, and empowering mindset to give you an entire strategy for being a confident and competent rider. So the program, we've opened the doors. There's a super early bird price where you're saving 50% off, and you're getting 2 extra bonuses. And those of you, hi Priscilla, that have already bought into the program, I know we hadn't talked about these bonuses before, but don't worry, you're getting them. And this super early bird offer ends on Sunday at midnight UK time. And the other great thing that Shona put together with this is that you can pay in your preferred currency. So if you're in the UK, you can pay in pounds. If you're in Canada, you can pay in Canadian dollars. And if you're in the US, you can pay in US dollars. So that's the great benefit. The program itself starts the week of June 23rd.
22nd. Yeah. 22nd.
That's 22nd. That's our schedule.
This is my Bible.
And Shona, do you have the link handy? Can you pop the link in there for
I'll
that?
pop it in as a comment, and I can pop it in again.
Okay, great. Okay, so we have a question from Mary. Hang on, I'm going to stop the banner that's going across here because now it's distracting. Okay, so Mary says, I have a very wonky left hip, old fractures and surgery. As a result, I'm not able to stand on my right leg and lift the left. Can I steady with a hand?
Absolutely. Yep. So whenever you're working with old injuries or anything, we've got to work with what we've got. You are the expert in your own body. So I can advise and give you hints, tips, movements to try, but ultimately, if we need to modify something to suit your body, that is absolutely what we'll do. We've all got kind of physical baggage, as I like to call it. So I've had injuries in my shoulders, I've had injuries in the hamstring, and it's a case of just being aware of it and working around it and finding what works for you. So if you are working with an injury, my first suggestion would be go and see a physio. Like, no matter how new or old the injury is, if you've not had it checked out by your physio, get in touch. Speak to them about it. A lot of them are doing like virtual calls at the moment, so they can potentially give you exercises. It's not the same as like a hands-on session, but it helps. And then as you start to come back into things, you might experience some discomfort, but what you want in the 24 hours after exercising is an improvement in strength and stability. So if at any point you've got an injury or something we're working around and it feels less stable or more painful the next day, get in touch with me straight away and we'll see how we can modify it for future. So yeah, absolutely, you can steady with a hand.
See, Shona may be younger than me by a year or two, but she's probably had more injuries in her lifetime than I have because she is such an active, kind of crazy person. So she really does know how to deal with these kinds of things. And I was going to ask you a question, actually, that ball exercise, if you're not able to do the standing in one leg thing, can you do it? Was there any benefit to doing that while you're sitting on the edge of a chair, like the first exercise you showed us?
Yeah, I think so, because what it's quite nice for doing is if you combined it with the marching, for example, that'd be a really good way of testing your coordination. And obviously with riding,
my goodness.
Yeah, with riding, we obviously need to have, I'm going to try this as well.
So you're going to sit on your chair and on the edge of the chair, okay, everybody try this at home. You're going to march and you're going to throw, which is hard to do with a wire from my earbuds, but
so
oh my goodness, that's a great coordination thing. And for riders who have a hard time isolating their hands, what their hands are doing from what their legs are doing, you know, it's so important in riding. We use our whole body, but we got to use everything independently. That's a fabulous exercise.
I know that, Anne, you said that you could juggle with 3. My juggling skills are pretty poor, but I know one of the things you focus on is not looking directly at the ball. So if you're a rider who tends to do this and have a look at what your pony's head is doing, it's quite nice because you're coordinating without looking down.
Right. That's great. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. You're welcome, Mary. The hip is fine. It's just you can't stand on the one leg. Okay. Priscilla says,
the whole body version.
Oh, that's the rub. Can't you do that? I can do that, but I can only do it with these hands. If I switch hands, then I'm patting my tummy and rubbing my head.
I didn't know I could do it both ways. I don't know if I've ever consciously tried.
Wow. There you go. Yes. So, any other questions or comments to come? I know I've had a question about the Focus and Fit to Ride program and whether or not if you're not riding right now, or you're not going to be riding when the program starts, is it worthwhile taking the program? So I will say yes, because you're setting yourself up. First of all, you're getting into some good habits physically and mentally to set yourself up for when you do get back into riding. And you have access to the program after it's over. So there's the live portion. And then the recordings are available to you in basically a vault that you'll have access to and can go back to as you need to.
And never underestimate. So, I mean, I'm doing quite a bit of groundwork at the moment, and I'm always just as tired after groundwork as I am after riding. I feel like I'm probably missing a trick here. I think the pony walks me, but lets me think I'm in charge. But yeah, so it's quite a nice thing to know you're still working your core strength, because then it means if you're giving aids from the ground, you can still have that coordination. You still have the kind of proprioception to know what your shoulders are doing. You've got that increased awareness to see, like, well, am I breathing right now? Because I hold my breath on the ground more than in the saddle, because I've not spent as much time consciously doing it. So,
there's nice. That's great to know, Mary. Mary, who has joined us in the program, says just having the commitment to join has already improved her mindset. So looking forward to going back to riding, perhaps. That's fabulous. And yes, you're building. This is giving you a strategy, a positive strategy for keeping your body and your mind as healthy and resilient as possible. As I said, we get into now I'm trying not to use the word bad. We get into unhelpful habits both in our posture and in our mindset that hold us back. And so this program is about improving in that. And it's not just about doing it in this 4-week program. It's about having that strategy from there on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that I've had someone before comment that, well, if I work with horses, of course I've got a sore back, which blew my mind. I was like, what? Is that a common association? But a lot of the exercise that we'll be doing to strengthen your core are also really good for helping with back pain. So in strengthening your core is one of the ways that I help my clients deal with back pain. So if you're struggling with that, this is another thing that we'll end up covering, just because there's so much overlap between core stability and strength and reducing back pain. So it's quite a nice one as well if you're still mucking out.
Yeah, mucking out is what messed up my shoulder, because I probably was not doing it correctly, and it's an overuse.
We'll need another 4-week course on shoulders.
Yeah, just can we do one on shoulders? I know you're doing one on wrists. I need one on shoulders.
After this, I'm going off for wrist conditioning.
Okay, I'm just scrolling through the messages to see what we have. Hi, Loretta. And Priscilla says she missed the coordination gene when we were doing this. All right. Mary says she started exercising. She's so motivated now. She started exercising yesterday. Yes, keep it up, Mary. And that's it for the comments. So please do share this video with any of your friends who you think will find either the tips helpful or learning about the program, the Focused and Fit to Ride program helpful. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye for now.
Bye.